And I have bought into these lies that, well, they're from Satan, but through feminism in our world and how motherhood is not valued. And so when I kind of dug into these thoughts about the pro-life movement, it kind of opened my eyes up to see even more like, yeah, like this is special that I can be a mom. Hello everybody. If you didn't notice, I'm in a different location today. I'm actually at my parents' house because my dad is watching my kids right now at my house, and so I'm over here. It's quiet. I got a different background and I'm ready to do a video. Today what I want to talk about is kind of a loaded topic. It's like a lot of different things, but it's going to come together with a main point. So I want to talk today about abortion. I want to talk today about the pro-life movement, about my experience with an unplanned, I guess you would say, pregnancy when I first became a mom. And also I want to talk about valuing motherhood. And all of this kind of comes under me continuing my journey. If you watch my video about I'm ready to start dealing with my anxiety, well, I realized that some of my anxiety is connected with motherhood, and I'm going to get into that a little bit more. But first, I want to talk about abortion. So this has been a topic I've wanted to address like for a long time, but I wanted to make sure the things I was saying were like what I should be saying and accurate and everything, because I am a strong believer in the pro-life movement and believing that like every life is important and that life begins at conception. So why am I talking about this and how does this connect to everything else? Well, I was kind of studying some things about the pro-life movement recently. Abortion says that it values women and that it values mothers and helping women. But I knew that wasn't true, but as I've studied more about the pro-life movement and women that are involved in that, I've realized how that's like could be farther from the truth. So first, let's talk about what abortion says it does. It does not value children. And I realize that when you're not valuing children, you're not valuing mothers. And that's just like vice versa. And we see that in like culture everywhere by everyone. And I struggle sometimes, like I think about sometimes when I'm frustrated, like you guys are driving me crazy, things like that. Like in my heart, like not valuing my children as I should. But abortion is like so clearly not valuing children and not valuing mothers. And I read some quotes by Lila Rose. She is a pro-life advocate and the president of Live Action, if you've heard of her. I read this one quote and it like got my mind spinning about like my own thoughts about motherhood. So this is what she said. I'm going to read it for you. The unique power of a woman is to be a mother. Abortion literally destroys it and spits on that most fundamental capacity we have and rejects it. And I thought that was so interesting what she said, and so true, that abortion is like spitting on motherhood and the way that we as women, like we're the only ones that can have a baby, you know, and how important and valuable that is. And then I listened to an interview about Abby Johnson, who she's the woman that the Unplanned movie is about, which I haven't watched yet. I probably should, but I'm like scared because I know it's going to be hard to watch. But I listened to an interview between her and Allie Beth Stuckey, who I love, and she was just talking about when she worked in Planned Parenthood. I'll read this quote. We just looked at them and said, "You're weak," and we exploited them at that time of vulnerability. That's not what women should be doing. We should be building each other up. Isn't that crazy just to think that like when you really look at abortion, it is saying to a woman like, you're weak, like you're a college student, you can't have a baby, you can't be a mom, you have 3 kids already and you're like dirt poor, you can't be a mom. Well, it's throwing out the fact that there's other options too, like adoption, giving up your baby for adoption. But also it's throwing out the fact that we as women, like we were created, made to have the ability to be a mom. Not everyone, I'm saying. I know some women unfortunately can't have children, but like saying that you're weak and you can't do this is speaking against the very ability that God created us. And I don't know about you if you're a mom, but I remember when I had my babies, after I had them, I was like, wow, my body can do amazing things. And we should be supporting and encouraging women and saying, you can do this. Like, it's gonna be hard, but you can do this. Well, let's go on to my story of how I had an planned, I guess you would say, pregnancy. It sounds funny because I was married, but we had only been married for 3 months when we found out that we were pregnant. And we were not planning this. We were being careful. I was devastated, to be honest with you guys, which is not something I'm like proud of, because I look back now and I think, wow, I was like kind of selfish and kind of very self-focused. I was, let's see, at the time, I think I was 23, yeah. I had only been married for 3 months. Hadn't really been thinking about being a mom. I was just excited to be married and serve in ministry together. That's what I thought we were gonna do. And I guess like as a kid, I said, all I wanna do is be a mom. But like when I got married, I wasn't thinking about that at all. And I remember my dad telling me like, once you get married, like there's the chance that you can have a baby, like get pregnant. And I'm kind of like, no, like that's not gonna happen to me. Like I just didn't think about it. And so when I got pregnant with my daughter, Emma, I really went through this time of like grieving and loss of what I thought were like my dreams for the future. And when I became a mom, like it was not easy. Like it was a hard adjustment for me. But I mean, when I had her, like I thought, oh, this cute little baby, like so sweet. And I was excited to be her mom, but it was hard. It was an adjustment. Now I'm thankful for what God has done in my life and how he's grown me and matured me being a mom. I think about women that have gone through abortion, and if they don't have like the hope in Christ, knowing like this is a purpose that God has for me, like I can see why you would go down that route, in the sense that like you're not trusting, you're not knowing that like this is happening for a reason. You're just thinking like, why me? Why would this happen? And I'm thankful for God helping me like rise to the challenge. All that to say, even though I love being a mom and I've oriented a lot of my life around being with my kids as much as possible, it hasn't taken away the fact that I have struggled with contentment. And I have bought into these lies that, well, they're from Satan, but through feminism in our world and how motherhood is not valued. And so when I kind of dug into these thoughts about the pro-life movement, it kind of opened my eyes up to see even more that, yeah, like this is special that I can be a mom. And it kind of got my wheels turning a little bit more. I realized that the lies that I have bought into are that motherhood like doesn't matter as much as like seeking success and like career and recognition. And I've bought into the discontentment of a lot of times like thinking about like, oh, like, being home and being like, oh, if I was by myself right now, like it'd be so peaceful and it'd be so quiet. And just like not valuing the importance of how special it is to be able to be home with my kids a lot, how special it is to be having the honor of raising 2 children. And I want to go on this journey more of learning contentment in motherhood. I was thinking about this. I was like, what does it mean to be a good mom? And if I would put it like in a few words, it would be that being a good mom is being a servant. And like, it's not easy to die to ourselves, right? It's so easy to be self-focused. And I think the world tells us like that's a good thing. That's like, oh yeah, like you want to do something for yourself. You want to do something that like you feel good about yourself. Like you deserve that, like go for that. And it doesn't value sacrifice. It doesn't value service. And that's all that like motherhood is. Yeah, we reap like 100-fold. And the fact that we're raising children that hopefully one day will honor God and will be like good members of our society. But yes, it is a sacrifice. It is serving someone else outside of ourselves, not always for our own benefit, for the benefit for someone else who can't take care of themselves, that can't do some of the most basic things when you think about a baby and the things that we do to love and raise a baby. And so I am on this little journey. I did that video, like I said, on anxiety recently, and I realized some of my anxiety is not resting in the fact that like being a mom I'm meant to do that. And it's a good thing. It's an honorable thing. It's a special thing. It's a privileged thing. But I want to get to the place where I see it as God sees it. And so I'm going to take you guys along with me on that journey. I'm going to share some other videos on motherhood. I've got some ideas going. I want to talk about how we can value motherhood better in our own lives, some very practical tips. I also want to do a video on women, that moms that their children are out of the house, and some regrets they have had about motherhood, so that we as younger moms can learn from those women. So I'm really excited about that. I hope you guys will come along. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you could track with me as I'm kind of like sharing about a lot of different things, but following my like thought process as I'm on this journey. So I will see you guys soon, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.